Hi, I'm Ruchi Mukherjee for TV Asia. Absolutely thrilled and honored to be catching up with my fellow Bengali, Indian American celebrity fashion designer, Bibhu Mohapatra. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. I am Orissa actually. I'm not, but we're same people.
Fellow Orissa, Bengal, Kolkata. So, and before I talk to you, I have to tell my viewers that you have presented at the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, and now second time in Fashion Houston, and welcome in Houston, and you've been dressing up celebrities like Salma Hayek, Kate Blanchett, Michelle Obama, and also Bollywood stars like Divya Padukone,
And Priyanka Chopra.
Priyanka Chopra.
Last week.
Well, first of all, well, as being Indian American, tell us about your roots and how do we see that in your designs?
My roots are everything. My roots are like my backbone, and they growing up in Orissa, amongst are surrounded by all those beautiful crafts of textiles, embroideries. It kind of made me who I am today. So that influence is always there every time I design. Since I'm trained here in the West and design for a global audience, so my heritage comes through in a very restrained manner, but it's very apparent in the colors, the way I use the colors, or the embroidery, or the techniques and the materials. So without my heritage and my roots, I'd be lost. So thank God for that. I have it.
Exactly, and that's what we saw yesterday at the beautiful runway show at Fashion Houston. And there's so many emerging designers. Of course, New York is filled with that, and now we see that here in Houston too. And I have personally interviewed many South Asian designers, and some of them I see they shy away from being bold colors or being too typecast as South Asian. What do you want to tell the up and coming emerging designers, especially South Asian designers?
I think they a lot of there are some amazing designers from Southeast Asia that are coming out with amazing work, and I think they shouldn't restrict their work at all, because now the world is a much smaller place with digital media and social media. So it is important for them to be as much outreach they can do is better, so that you know people are traveling these days. People are not restrained to just one geographical region, so the product has to be global as well, and they should be really proud of what they feel comfortable in and what they're about. For me, I use my heritage, my influence from my heritage as much as I can, and I never try to shy away from that. So just embrace what you are about.
Exactly. And Houston Chronicle recently asked me a question. Being Indian American, and I'm in the society scene here in Houston, I try to, in my mainstream events, throw in a sari or a tika or something Indian influence. And how have you seen your collection be received as the bright colors or the embroidery work?
I think it gives it a very special place. The use of colors, especially, and the embroidery. A lot of people do embroidery, but it's how to balance it. I don't do a lot of embroidery, but it's how I use it is I think gives me a niche. But I do use colors, and how I use colors against each other is also what sort of magic they create. And I try to find as much reference in my culture I'm from, and utilize them. For example, the print in this season is a flower. I've never used a flower for a print. This season, I really wanted to use a flower, and I wanted to have a flower with a story. So I looked into something that I had seen before, a flower from Southeast Asia, a palash, and which was actually Rabindranath Tagore's favorite flower. And in his ashram, there were palash trees, and every spring it would bloom, and for him it was about a new beginning with spring. So even though the flower was not offered to God, it had a lot of presence. So for me, that's a story that moved me, and I wanted to use it, and hence you see it in all over the collection and in many different colorways. So I think it's fun to kind of look at your roots and then kind of repackage it and use it in your work.
I absolutely agree, and it's so nostalgic talking to you. I'm like, when you talk about Rabindranath Tagore, especially, I grew up with that. And tell us something which people don't know about you. I heard about your mustard fish, or we call it sorche mach, that is your favorite. And I also know that if you see Rekha, yeah, Indian actress, you will die on the street. So tell us something more that my viewers or someone over here they don't know about you.
Well, I mean that's one of the things, and Rekha and Parveen Babi were two of my, uh, very influenced by them and how their persona was, and as an artist, how they morphed into their characters and how they defined beauty for me, and that still holds true for me. I've been fortunate enough to dress some celebrities, and but celebrity in reference to those two actors from Bollywood means a whole different thing for me, and I would be completely starstruck. A friend of mine, a designer friend of mine, Anna Singh, in India, in Bombay, a couple of weeks ago, was like, "Okay, I'm taking you to Rekha's, and uh, when you come back from Orissa, we'll do that." And I didn't have time, but I stay at a hotel on the bandstand. And every time I would leave the hotel and go out for my work, and I would go past Rekha's house, so I would just stop in front of her house and just gaze at it, just hoping that she would just come out. And of course, she doesn't come out. And so that's being starstruck, and that's she did make an impact in my life, and when I was growing up, and I'm a huge fan of her work. So it's not only about beauty; it's about her craft as well.
And they created fashion. They brought in like Parveen Babi was that disco, and she brought in a style icons.
Yeah, she was the kind of modern Indian woman who really broke a lot of rules and kind of became the bad it girl, and she remained that way. She remained herself, and that's what really matters, to be who we are and really find ourselves.
Well, I can talk all day with you. However, I know I have to wrap it up, and I've seen all the busy clients around you. So, my last question to you is: are you happy with the way, for A, South Asian women in US are dressing up or styling themselves? And if something they need to change, what that would that be? And in New York or in Houston, whichever scene you're more, aware of, that what is that you like about the way they dress up here?
I think I would mostly leave it up to them, really, what they are comfortable with and how they want to present themselves, because it all depends on them and who they are. There is no rule of anyone being dressed in one way or the other, but I do appreciate when I see a woman going to a formal event wearing a sari, or some version of it. I have a very dear friend. Geeta Mehta, who's amazing, who's been living in New York and in London and Delhi, and every fashion show she has come to, she will be the only one in a sari, and she stands out, like, photographers go crazy, and some know of who she is, some don't, but they just love seeing her. So it does something for me. So again, it all depends on what event it is and what their personal style is. So as long as they're comfortable with it, and they're being themselves, it's fine with me.
Well, it's a wrap, and like they say, all good things come to an end, and I'm not so happy saying goodbye to you, but it was absolutely a pleasure chatting with you, Bibhu. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Thank you so much, and we'll meet again.